Hey everyone, welcome to the first part of my Tactician mode playthrough and guide for Baldur's Gate 3. This is a continuation of the trophy and achievement guide I've already put out, but this time we're going to choose a new game and start on the Tactician mode so that we can get some certain trophies related to that difficulty in particular. Now I'm going to be skipping through most of the cutscenes that are story related because we've already seen them in the other walkthrough. However, we are going to choose a new character type. Instead of doing the custom character that we did before, we're going to choose an origin character called the Dark Urge because there are a few trophies related to that origin character. So move on over toward the Dark Urge and select that one so that we can get the remaining trophies that we need specifically for the Dark Urge character type. And here's a little bit of a character introduction for you.
My rancid blood whispers to me, kill, kill, and kill again. My ruined body yearns to reap death in this world. And when this foul urge calls, it possesses my whole being. Injured beyond repair. I know nothing besides this. I must resist the dark urge, lest it consume my mind. I must discover who I was and what happened to me before my twitching knife hand writes a tragedy in blood.
Yeah, so in short, we get to be a homicidal maniac for this playthrough, and we can choose to either resist the Dark Urge or give in to it, and that gives us some special powers. But be warned, though, that giving into the urge at the wrong time can cost you some other trophies. Because I missed the Hot Date trophy with Karlach in the first playthrough, I need to be very careful about when I give into that Dark Urge, because it can cost me that relationship if I do it at the wrong time. So I'll be very mindful of that as we go forward. When you choose your race for the Dark Urge, it really doesn't matter who you choose because you are not stuck as that Dragonborn, which is how it normally starts. So choose whichever race you want to. If you want to go Tiefling to gain some extra fire resistance, that's cool. Half-Orc is really powerful for a melee type character, especially like a fighter, because they have natural savage attacks. Halflings are also interesting because they have the Lucky ability, which means that if you roll a 1, which is a critical fail, on an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw, you can re-roll the dice and use the new result, so you're basically immune to critical failures. However, I'm going to go with a Drow. A Drow has a +2 skill proficiency for perception checks. That's really nice as we explore the world as the main character. We get Drow weapon training, meaning that we get proficiency in rapiers, short swords, and hand crossbows, things I'll be using a lot of. We also get superior dark vision to see in the dark a lot further. And we get Fey ancestry, meaning that we have an advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and we can't be put to sleep. So, along with all of these things, we also have an in-game advantage story-wise because the Drow are seen as like the rulers of the goblins, and Act 1 has a lot of goblins that can be particularly problematic for us. However, if we're a Drow, they will bow to us and do as we say without really any issues whatsoever. So in the beginning of the game in Act 1, when things are the most difficult in Tactician mode, we get a big advantage against kind of our biggest enemies. So that's why I'm going with Drow as well as the other perks that we get. As far as how you look and everything, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to kind of keep it the same. As far as the subrace goes, I'm going with the Lolthsworn Drow. Doesn't really matter which one you choose, but the Lolthsworn one is the one that is typically aligned with the merciless goddess of corruption and evil. We get the bright red eyes to instill fear in everyone else, and that just kind of plays with the Dark Urge theme a little bit more, I feel. So it doesn't provide you any advantages, but it just seems to fit a little bit more thematically with the Dark Urge character that we're creating. For the class, I'm going with a rogue so that I immediately get access to the sneak attacks, both melee and ranged. We also have the ability to be very stealthy, and that's going to be very helpful because I'm going to be initiating the fights on my terms instead of letting the enemy have the advantage, which is very important for a Tactician mode run. For the background, we only get one choice, and that's the Haunted one, giving us the skill proficiencies in Medicine and Intimidation. As for the ability points, I'm definitely keeping the +2 bonus for dexterity, but I'm going to switch out the +1 bonus for intelligence over to constitution. That way we'll have a little bit more survivability on this harder difficulty with enemies that like to hit a lot harder. I'm not really a perfectionist when it comes to min-maxing or anything like that, so while you could switch around your intelligence and wisdom, drop those a little bit, you could give some more points to charisma to talk your way through things a little bit easier. That is a viable option to avoid some fights, or you could give yourself a little bit more strength so that you're not always encumbered while you're picking up things as your main character. Doesn't really matter what you choose, but definitely have that 17 in dexterity and keep a little bit higher constitution score. Everything else is a little bit changeable depending on how you want to play the game, but you can see my recommended loadout here. It's pretty basic, and I'm going to continue on from here. With your skill proficiencies, if you're making a stealthy character like me, obviously put stealth as one of your skill proficiencies. Sleight of hand can be nice if you want to be able to lockpick and to steal things. It is kind of important, but you also have Astarion as a rogue if you want to go that route and just have him do all of that work for you. Doesn't really matter, but definitely stealth is the main one there. And then you can really play around with the other 2 or 3 as you wish. Definitely would put something into insight, perhaps, if you want to be able to see the world around you a little bit better, or to do something in terms of persuasion or deception or intimidation. Anything like that will work just fine. For skill expertise, we'll choose stealth to give us a +7 overall, and then I'm going to throw it into another one of the conversational abilities. So intimidation, deception, persuasion, anything that you want to go with, those are all good. I'll just throw it into intimidation and then move on. Keeping the face the same and everything doesn't matter, but this is your character. Do whatever you want with it to make them look exactly how you want them to look. The Dark Urge is a great character name, no reason to change that at all. And then we're going to go on to your Guardian. This, again, doesn't matter whatsoever, so choose whatever you want to, and then we can venture forth.
The blood in your head thrums and pounds. That pounding blood obscures who you are. An overwhelming loss of memory. How you ended up amidst these hellish flames is just as hidden. You have nothing in your skull, besides your name and a headache. But you are in danger.
So the Dark Urge is a homicidal maniac with an amnesia issue. What could possibly go wrong? Let's take a deep breath, shake your head, and start anew.
Time to get out of here. And then you can shed light on the dark of the matter of yourself.
Now for this playthrough, we're going to keep things fairly similar story-wise to what we did in the other walkthrough for that trophy and achievement guide. However, there were things that I didn't do in that playthrough that I do want to highlight, so you will be seeing new content as we go through here, just some easy ways to gain experience points to help us level up, but I won't do everything exactly the same. You'll also notice that our HP is only 10, meaning that we've got to be pretty careful about how we go through fights. Well, starting off the game is exactly the same. We're going to run straight toward the west, going through the sphincter into the next room. On the left side, there's going to be a neural apparatus. Let's go ahead and interact with that to raise ourselves up to the next level. There's going to be a man constrained over in the chair over there. Let's go talk to him to get our minion us, like we did in the previous playthrough.
Yes, you've come to save us from this.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return! They return. Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice that your fingers twitch with the desire to rip its tender, moist meat to shreds.
As you'll see, I'll skip through some of the unimportant dialogue, but there are differences at some points, like him fantasizing about ripping the brain to shreds. But ultimately, you want to spare it, so that we can have our minion.
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses, listening. Something behind your eyes seizes in recognition.
We must go to the helm. To the helm we go. We are...
Alright, and now we have us following us. Let's go back to that neural apparatus and we'll go back down to the lower floor. Then we're going to continue on toward the west where we're going to encounter Lae'zel. As far as I can tell, the cutscene is exactly the same. There's really no difference because we're playing as the Dark Urge character. So I'm just going to skip the cutscene and move on toward the fight right afterward. One of the things that I like about this character that we built, having a rogue, is that we get usually pretty good initiative rolls, meaning that we get to go first in combat, and that's very important so that we can kill enemies before they can kill us. Remember, we don't have a whole lot of HP, they have a lot more HP than usual, and they can hit a lot harder. So any advantage that we can get with going first is going to be very important for us. Let's go ahead and start off the fight by rushing forward, and we're going to try to take out these enemies as quickly as possible. Alright, that's one enemy down. We got a pretty good roll on that one, and now we just have two more imps to take out in this area. We could use this flourish attack. It won't do enough damage really to make a big difference against this imp, so I'm going to skip it for right now, save that for a more important time. Instead, we're going to have our minion us run forward and do an attack against that imp and take it down. So now we just have one enemy remaining, and that's going to be up to Lae'zel to rush forward and to take care of. A lot of times on Tactician mode, I want the enemy to try to come to me, so I'll do kind of these tactical retreats. Sometimes maybe run forward, hit them, and then run backward, try to get the enemy moving in my direction. I don't want to be overextended too much and have the enemy try to surround me when I'm helpless. So always try to fight the enemy in terms that are beneficial for you and not for them. After this battle, and really every battle, make sure that you loot the enemies you defeat. You never know what you'll find. It could be a better weapon, or a piece of equipment, or armor. Go through and loot everything that you can. Even if you can't use it, you might be able to sell it later. So I did pick up that scimitar from this guy. It doesn't really provide me an advantage here attack-wise. I could equip it into my offhand and dual wield between the short sword that I had and the scimitar, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll get back to that a little bit later on. So feel free to play with that if you want to, otherwise I'm just going to leave it the way that it is right now, and I'm going to go through and loot the other enemies here. You can grab a light crossbow. This is a nice way to do some ranged damage, and we can use it to make our sneak attack ranged attacks with our rogue ability as well. So we're just going to loot everything that we can, and then we're going to see that the crossbow that we just picked up is also good for Lae'zel. It's a little bit better than the short bow that she's currently wielding. So let's put that on her, and then we're going to continue on, and we're going to go a little bit further on toward the north. There's going to be a body over on the right for a dead thrall, so you can make sure that you loot a little bit of gold off of him. Really, the main point of all of this is just to loot as much as possible, because you never know what you'll find, and if you can't use it, you can sell it to buy something that you can use. Well, now we're going to continue on toward the north. We're going to loot this dead thrall and then continue up through this arterial mesh, and then we're going to climb up another level, and we're going to continue on toward the checkpoint. You can see on the minimap there's the little quest icon that we want to go to, so let's run down this hallway. Now this room has Shadowheart in it. She's over on the left side, so let's go over and interact with her.
Make no sense of it.
You! Get me out of this damn thing!
We have no time for stragglers.
I'll go look around. There must be some way to get this thing open.
Try that contraption next to the pod. They did something to it when they sealed me in. Hurry!
Let's go get the key that we need for her. You can kill the stunned people in those chairs if you really want to, but otherwise head through the easternmost door, and then you're going to loot the dead thrall right inside the door. This is going to give us a gold key and another scimitar. Then run forward. You can interact with this Mind Flayer pod in the middle if you want to. No real reason to, though. And there's this push button over here. You can either interact with it or not. It doesn't really matter. A little further east is this cartilaginous chest. Open it up for some potions of healing, and then you also want to choose to pick up the chest and add it into our inventory. Then go ahead and loot this dead thrall. You can grab the Eldritch Rune and some gold here. And now we're going to go back down and go over to where Shadowheart is waiting for us. We'll be able to use that Eldritch Rune to activate the machine right next to her, and that will allow us to free her. So let's interact with the device to the right side, and then we can insert the rune, put our hand on it, and then ultimately use our authority to open up the pod.
The console appears dormant. Mind. Seated.
Now talk to Shadowheart, go through the dialogue, and add her to the team. Alright, the exit that we need is the southern one, so let's run around here. If for some reason you're missing any health, now would be a good time to restore it with these blue tentacles hanging down at that restoration pod. Otherwise, let's go through this door and then over into the next hallway. We're going to stick toward the right side and get a little cutscene when we go through it. After the cutscene, continue through the hallway to the west, being careful not to step in the fire at the entrance, and then go all the way to the end, but do not open this sphincter yet, because that will start a fight that we don't want to do just yet. Instead, move all of your party members close to the door, grab that cartilaginous chest from your inventory, and use it to block the path right behind you, so that the enemies who spawn in this area can't follow us through the door. When you're ready, then go ahead and save the game so that we have a nice save point in case something in this next fight goes wrong, but otherwise go through the sphincter, through the cutscene, and then we'll be inside of a big fight. So for here, there's going to be Commander Zalk. We are not going to fight him this time. We did that in the previous playthrough, but it's just not worth it at this point. Instead, we're going to deal with these lesser imp enemies, so let's go ahead and start fighting them off, taking them out as we go along. Using our new ranged weapons, we can get a little bit of an advantage against them, so we can hit them while they're still a ways off. So I got that one attack off on him, and then I can have us run forward and get another attack off to finish that one enemy. The Mind Flayer and Commander Zalk are going to keep each other busy. We're just going to ignore them completely and run right past them, doing as the Mind Flayer told us to do. Let's keep going forward. Unfortunately, I got the miss here, but the enemy does a little attack against us. Not too bad, taking out just a little bit of Lae'zel's health. We still got lots to go, though. We can then run forward with Shadowheart, keeping the fight going, and this lesser imp is going to attack us from a range, but it's not going to matter so much as we can dodge that one pretty easily. You can see the damage that the Commander Zalk is dealing, and we honestly would not survive one round against him. If you want to go into Shadowheart's spellbook and readjust her prepared spell so that she's holding the command spell, then what you can do is command him to drop his sword. There is a chance of it working, and he will drop his sword on the ground, and you can swoop in and steal it right from him if you want to. That's a nice way to get that sword so that you can use it instead. It's really good on characters like Lae'zel, and it will last you for quite a while. There are some other very good and viable swords that I'll be showing off in the very near future for her, so it's not absolutely critical that you do that, but it is a nice little perk that you can get very early on in the game. If you don't want to fight Commander Zalk for his sword and loot it from him, you can just command it from him and take it from there. Now let's run forward and kill the last remaining imp in this first group of enemies. Once the enemies up close are defeated, we're going to continue on toward the west. When you get far enough, then you will get a little bit of a cutscene. That's when you know that you're at about the halfway point of this area. You do want to go as quickly as possible, maybe even using your turns to dash forward, just to get a little bit more movement as you go. When Commander Zalk kills that Mind Flayer, he will turn his attention on you and your party, probably one hit killing you as he goes along, and he gets 2 attacks per turn, so he can annihilate your party very quickly. So just try to get to that transponder as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, 3 new enemies joined the fight that are in our way, but we don't have to deal with them. If you don't want to, you can just sprint past them toward the end. Now, I did move the rogue up toward the enemy. I'm going to do a ranged attack just to do a little damage, hopefully get the kill, but I don't quite get it. Now, what you'll notice is I'll take us, and I'm going to move him a little bit closer to the enemy than what the rogue is. That means that the enemy will focus on us, and us has a lot more health than what our other characters have, so he makes a great sponge for the enemy's damage. And now we can move the other characters up, again trying to keep us closer to the enemy than what our other characters are. With Shadowheart, I'm going to run a little bit off to the side and then use a guiding bolt just to finish off the enemy. That clears the path on the left-hand side, allowing her to keep running over toward the transponder, while the other characters are going to deal with the other enemies on the right-hand side. Now you'll see that Commander Zulk does get the kill on the Mind Flayer and then flies over toward Lae'zel. He takes a swing at her. Luckily he misses, which is good for us because otherwise she'd be on the ground and I'd have to pick her up. We're going to attack this Lesser Hellspore and get a lot of damage off on him. If you do have another character within a couple of feet of what that enemy is, we can use our sneak attacks against him, and that's a good way to get lots of damage. If you are careful in your positioning, you may be able to run away without provoking an opportunity attack. So again, just try to get away from the enemy as much as possible, especially get your characters away from Commander Zulk, and keep your enemies close by to your minion named Us. Now here I could decide just to leave Us there or to try to run away, provoking that attack of opportunity. I decided to do that just so that he can't do it against Lae'zel going forward. So that was a bit of a strategic move. I was really hoping that he wouldn't die, and it did pay off for us there. So now I'm able to attack this Lesser Imp using Lae'zel's ranged attack. With a 72% chance to hit and only 3 out of 8 chance of doing enough damage to kill this thing, the odds weren't in my favor. That was only a 27% chance of working out where that attack would actually kill it. So unfortunately I didn't get the result I wanted to, but that's okay because Lae'zel can now escape, get away from Commander Zulk without that opportunity attack coming out, and then I can use my dash to run forward with Shadowheart, and that will be just enough to get her all the way to this transponder, and I can interact with it, and that ends the sequence on the Nautiloid.
You half expected your memories to return once you were free of the Mind Flayer ship, but your past is still an aching void. If you don't find a way to remove the tadpole burrowed in your brain soon, your future will be as blank as your past. Your head whispers vengeance. You cannot wait to slice your way forth, seeking whatever wrought this tragedy upon you.
Alright, let's run forward and rescue Shadowheart off the ground. Being Dark Urge doesn't change anything with this interaction, so I'm going to skip through the cutscene, but just be nice to her, wake her up, don't try to steal the artifact or anything like that, and make sure that she joins us on our journey. Alright, now with Shadowheart in our party, we're going to continue along down the path. There's a few things that you can loot if you want to. On the right side, you can open up a pouch, and you'll see inside of it there is a potion of healing. So go ahead, grab that. There's a backpack on the left that has a frumpy hat. You can wear it for fashion if you want to. Continue along down the path, you'll see a mangled fisher that you can loot, and when you interact with this body, you'll also get a special scene as the Dark Urge.
You drink in the pungent corpse. Since you awoke on the ship, your mind has been cold and empty, but something stirs. With your hands close to this body, you know nothing of why, but you find a half smile flittering across your face.
Intelligence. Try to remember the last time you stood above a corpse. This gives us a skill check looking for a 7. We can use the guidance ability from Shadowheart to make this easier, so let's roll it and then keep going.
As soon as you delve into your mind, it is filled with flashes of 1,000 different dead. There is something unknown and unspeakable deep within your heart.
We have a couple enemies up ahead that we want to take out, but we want to begin the battle on our terms. So let's start by sneaking, and then we're going to go over toward the enemy, and we're going to open up with a sneak attack melee attack. You could also use a sneak attack range if you want to start off from a little bit further away. Doesn't really matter here, but when we begin with the sneak attack, the enemy's not expecting us, so that they are going to be surprised when the battle begins. And what surprised means is that the enemy will not be able to act. They can't move, they can't do anything on the first turn of combat. That basically gives us one free turn to do whatever we want to against them. So this enemy here has 4 HP left. I can use this flourish attack. It can do up to 4 damage. If I was offhand wielding a weapon or dual wielding, I could use that attack to do some damage as well. Unfortunately, I can't quite do enough damage to him, but on this first turn being surprised, we do have the ability to attack without fear of them hurting us very much. So I can have Shadowheart run up and attack the enemy. Now what we can do is to get our second turn to run forward and do another sneak attack, doing lots of damage to the enemy, and then it's going to be the enemy's turn to counterattack. So they do an attack doing 5 damage, that's half of our total health, so that's not too good. This Intellect Devourer will run over toward us. He was far away, so he can't do a whole lot on his turn, he can just dash over. But now Shadowheart's turn, I can have her do 1 attack, and then have her use Healing Word. That allows me to heal up the Dark Urge back to full health. Let's attack this nearby enemy to finish him off, and I'll get enough experience for both characters to level up. I'm now going to run him back a little bit so that this enemy is closer to Shadowheart, and she can deal with damage a little bit better because she's wielding a shield. I'll try to use a Fire Bolt with Shadowheart. I probably should have used Guiding Bolt instead because it's more likely to hit. So I do get a critical miss there. Unfortunately, can't do any damage, but I'm going to run her right next to the enemy, and that will allow me to use a sneak attack ranged against this enemy. So now he's down to pretty low health. He does attack and take Shadowheart out of the fight. With Shadowheart on the ground, I'll just use a ranged attack to take out this enemy. Now what's interesting, it says that the party gained 10 XP. I can see 10 XP above my head, but I can't see anything above Shadowheart. So I'm not 100% sure if she did get the experience or not. If you know how that all works out, let me know down in the comments. But we do have enough to level up, so let's go ahead and do that to reach level 2 with both the Dark Urge and Shadowheart. The Dark Urge is now a level 2 rogue. It gives us some more health as well as our cunning actions of hide, dash, and disengage. So those are really nice for us. Now we can do a sneak attack and then hide, and that will allow us to get through combat encounters pretty sneakily if we want to. Shadowheart is a level 2 cleric. We just gain a skill slot and some more spells. As far as the prepared spells go, just do whatever you really want to here. I would recommend a mixture of offensive and defensive, so keeping that Guiding Bolt on there is nice. A little bit of healing, like Cure Wounds would be good, or Healing Word. Sanctuary is a good choice if you're in a dire spot and you want to keep someone alive. You can always cast that on them and then they become immune to damage. So do whatever you want to, prepare the spells the way that you see fit, and then let's keep going. The next thing to do is to add Astarion onto our team. We're going to run over toward the west, leaving this crashed ship, and then we're going to follow the path in front of us around toward the right. That will take us more toward the north, and Astarion is waiting for us at the top of this path with a little cutscene. The cutscene itself is almost exactly the same as a normal playthrough. The ending is a little bit different, so I'm going to just talk to him, be nice to him and everything, and then invite him to join me, and then you'll see the ending of the cutscene right here.
All right. I accept. Lead on.
As he joins your side, your mind dances with thoughts of a perfect, pretty corpse.
Once Astarion joins our team, he is eligible for a level up, so let's go ahead and level him up really quick. There's no choices that we need to make in this. He is a level 2 rogue. We're going to keep him right in that space right now, so we will have 2 level 2 rogues, and that's good because we can get some really nice sneak attacks, and we can do things pretty stealthily going forward. Once that's done, we're going to continue along the path toward the northwest, and eventually that turns north, going into another crashed ship here. We're going to go talk to the Mind Flayer who's trapped under the rubble, and I'll talk you through how to get through this and get the most out of it.
You approach the dying monster. This is the thing that abducted you. You could end its life here and now, if only you didn't feel compassion. Compassion?
No, you should be furious, shouldn't you?
Yes, you feel hate, and you deserve to be punished for it. You should be whipped, made to bow before this creature in shame. It's possessing your mind, forcing you to love it, but then the feeling slips. The creature's mind seems to focus elsewhere.
Intelligence. Concentrate on its thoughts. This is a skill check of 10. Make sure you use whatever bonuses you have available to you, and then let's go ahead, roll that, and then continue on from here.
Your minds fuse, lusting for something that is gone. But then its grip claws back with a vengeance, a vice locking your mind into obedience. It It needs sustenance to survive, and with your very body, you can provide.
Wisdom, resist the intrusion with everything you have. This is a skill check of 5, very easy for us to pass this one.
The monster lies exhausted, defeated. Its eyes, wet orange pearls, radiate malice.
Close those eyes forever. Here's a Haunted One inspiration point. To sleep, perchance to dream tentacled dreams for the Dark Urge. And with that, we get a little bit of experience as well. So we're going to loot his body, grab the potion of healing off of it, and then we're going to continue running straight ahead in that same direction toward the northeast. Before you go up those little steps, turn toward the right and follow the path up. There are some dead goblins here. You can loot them to grab the stuff off of them if you want to. One of them is most important, though, and that's the one furthest on who has a supply pack. Make sure you grab that one, and then continue up and look toward the left. You'll see this portal. Let's interact with it to get Gale on our team.
Approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
Touch the sigil.
A hand? Anyone?
As you can see, there's some interesting options here, such as fantasize about hacking off the hand, but I'm going to go with strength. Ignore the urge to maim, grab the hand and pull. Here's a skill check looking for a 7. Let's go ahead and roll that and pull Gale out.
That's it! Go on! Keep pulling!
There's nothing special about this cutscene from the Dark Urge's perspective, so I'm going to cut to the end of it. I'm just going to be nice and have him join the party, and then we'll continue on from the end of the cutscene. Thanks to those choices, we get another inspiration point for the Dark Urge, this time called Subdue Thine Appetites, and 30 additional experience to go along with it. Let's switch on over to Gale, and then we're going to level him up just like the other characters. We're going to keep him in that wizard line for right now, and I've been looking at a lot of different builds, and I found one that I think is really interesting. It's all based around the spell Magic Missile, which is just a level 1 spell, and you can do some crazy damage with it if you have the right equipment. So there are a lot of really good builds for a wizard based on the different subclasses, but for this build that I want to show you right now, we're going to go with the Evocation subclass. So let's go ahead and grab that one, and then we're going to look at which spells that we want. Of course, for the Magic Missile build, you should probably learn Magic Missile to go along with that. There's also some other really good spells like Charm Person or Color Spray. You can use that to blind enemies, and that's very powerful for battle. You can also do things like Long Strider to get some additional movement speed. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is another good spell that you could take if you want to incapacitate some foes and leave them prone. So the choice is yours for which secondary spell you want, whether it's a utility spell or a damaging spell. Doesn't really matter. The choice is yours completely. For my purposes, I'm just going to grab Chromatic Orb because you can do some fun things with that as well with the different damage types that it has associated with it. For prepared spells, definitely want to grab that Magic Missile, put it onto your prepared spells list, and anything else that you want from your list of available spells. And then we're going to keep on going. Alright, now to go get Lae'zel, we're going to follow the path around and toward the left. We're going to run straight north from here, and then up at the top there's going to be some tieflings. Now, because we're a drow, they don't like us very much, so the interaction is going to be pretty short with them.
Zoru was right. Yellow as a toad, twice as ugly.
The thing's dangerous. Leave it for the goblins to kill.
Your skull pounds in response to the prisoner's white-hot stare. Her lips don't move, yet you hear her voice.
Get rid of them. Holy hells. Under elf.
Lay time, I miss her.
Intimidation. If you value your life, walk away. We get a skill check looking for a 5 here. Very easy with our proficiencies that we already have. So let's roll it and keep going.
Demaze.
Come, Naemissa. Now.
Enough gawking. Get me down.
Now that they're out of earshot, sure. Now all we have to do is use a ranged attack to attack the bottom of the cage that she's in. She'll fall down. The cutscene is exactly the same as normal, so we're just going to skip to the end.
As you
I invited Lae'zel to join us, and she's now taking Gale's place on the team. I sent him back to camp, and speaking of camp, let's go there for the first time. This will just get through a lot of the tooltip stuff. There's no real reason to go here, but I just wanted to kind of get through all of that. And then we're going to go ahead and level her up. She is a level 2 fighter. As a level 2 fighter, Lae'zel gains some extra health and the action surge ability. We don't have to make any choices at this point, so just accept what we've learned and then continue on from here. We can then go ahead and leave camp. We're going to now go over and fight the battle that's right outside of the Emerald Grove. And we're going to do it in a very strategic and tactician-y way so that we don't take any damage at all in this fight. Let's continue to run around the path going toward the north. The Dark Urge will say, I hear shouting up ahead. So at that point, just make a save, and then you know that if anything goes wrong, you can always just reload it from here. It will auto-save when you get up ahead a little bit, but it's always good to have a backup save right here. Make sure that all of your characters have ranged weapons. So I know that Shadowheart does not have a bow right now, but I've been looting enemies all throughout the game, so I should have a spare short bow or crossbow to give her. Once everyone has been decked out with ranged equipment, then what we're going to do is to continue up the path right here between the rocks and the bush until we get to the top and a cutscene plays out. I'm going to skip the cutscene though and go right into the battle because nothing changes. So here's a quick layout of the land. Up on this hill where we are, there are 2 enemies, one right next to us and then one a little bit further on down. We also have Will over here, and there's a couple other allies strewn about. You can see from the bar at the top there are quite a few enemies around, but we can take them out no problem. So starting off with the enemies nearby us, this is the definite highest priority that we can take on, trying to get rid of the guys that can do the most damage to us. So what I want to do is have Astarion come by. You can see that we have kind of shared initiative between our 2 rogues. I can have him run up and do a sneak attack against the enemy right next to the Dark Urge. Now I'm going to jump Astarion down so that he is right next to the other enemy down below. That will allow me to switch back to the Dark Urge, and now I can do a sneak attack with him down below and hit this goblin tracker. So you kind of have to leapfrog the enemies there a little bit, and you're able to take out both of them pretty easily using sneak attacks if you get some good damage rolls there. Now we're just going to go back up top, and we're going to wait at the top of this hill with all of our characters. We're going to do all of our fighting from atop of that little hill area, and everyone else will be fighting down around here, and we don't have to worry about that. If you happen to take damage, the NPCs actually will heal you, so he threw a healing potion up at Shadowheart because she started the battle a little low on health. We do also get the rallied condition when the big horn blows. That gives us 8 additional temporary hit points, just a little bit more padding to go along with it, making sure that we don't die in this fight. Looks like everyone is doing great on health, so I'm not going to have Shadowheart heal. I'm instead going to have her attack. Unfortunately, she does miss that one. Not a big deal, though. We'll just keep going from here. The enemy has a big chance to attack, but luckily they're too concerned with the NPCs and don't really bother attacking me. We also have Will fighting on the side. He does a pretty good job of cleaning up enemies too, and everyone will actually make it through this fight pretty well. I don't think I lose any NPCs or take any damage myself in this whole fight. So I think that as far as Tactician mode goes, this fight could not have gone any better whatsoever. So let's move Lae'zel up. Now it is her turn. She's able to shoot down from up above and do a little bit of damage to the people down here. So she did a little damage to that Bugbear. I don't need to use Action Surge yet. I want to save that for a good time when I can make really good use of it and take out an enemy who otherwise may have survived here. So the rules with the sneak attack ranged is that you need to target an enemy who is nearby another party member or another ally. So because I have the high ground advantage and the enemy is nearby one of the allies down below, I can use sneak attacks against them, and those are good ways to do lots of extra damage to the enemy. If you want to, you can use your cunning actions to hide up there. It isn't really necessary, but it could actually save you a little bit of health if you're dealing with the enemy who's turning and trying to attack you instead of attacking the enemy. You can hide up there as well. Just duck out of sight and hide, and then you can always sneak back closer, use your sneak attack range attacks, and just keep doing damage. But you should be able to get through this fight very easily. So now let's use a guiding bolt, throw that down on the enemy and do a little bit more damage to them. I'm just going to attack this Bugbear here, doing 12 damage. He's now pretty low on health, and we don't have to worry about him for too much longer. The enemy gets a couple attacks in, and then we're going to continue on with our turns.
Every last one of you!
Alright, it's now Lae'zel's turn, so I'm going to have her shoot down from up above, hitting this Bugbear. It's going to reduce his health to just 1, and this is a good time when I can use Action Surge to follow up that attack and actually take out the enemy before he has another chance to attack. So once they're all done, then Will is going to kill off this enemy, and then we're going to reset the round over to the Dark Urge again. So once again, we can use our sneak attacks to attack the enemies from up above and just do some pretty nice damage against them. So here comes one of those sneak attack ranges. Only has a 65% chance of hitting, so unfortunately it did miss, but I can follow that up with Astarion doing another one, and luckily this one does end up hitting them. So those turns are over. Now we just have our NPCs helping us out here, like Zevlor, who can shoot down from up above, and the other characters who can attack and kill enemies pretty efficiently. It's now Shadowheart's turn. Let's use a little bit more guiding bolt magic to hurl down some magic, and that will end the fight. After that shortcut scene, you want to go and loot all the bodies down at the bottom. So there's a lot of stuff that isn't that great, but grab it anyway. There is a vendor just inside the grove that you can sell all the stuff to and get some easy gold from him. So go ahead, grab whatever you want to. The Krug enemy does have these green gloves of power. I'm going to equip those on the Dark Urge. They're a nice pair of gloves that allow us to hit an enemy and possibly inflict a penalty to their attack rolls and saving throws, and it boosts our sleight of hand by 1. So it seems like a great thing to give to a rogue. When the looting's done, let's go up and into the Grove area. Just keep running north. There's going to be a cutscene. Just play nice. Try to break up Zevlor and Arden. Make sure no one gets punched or anything like that. And then we'll keep going from here.
There are children here, you fool!
At least we agree on that.
As I was editing that together, I thought it was pretty funny that the first line of that fight and the last line actually go pretty well together. Well, now we're going to continue on toward the east. We're going to go kill the Bugbear assassin up at the top of this area. Hopefully we can rescue the tiefling up there, but this guide is not designed to do all the trophies like the Leave No One Behind trophy. We did that in the last playthrough, so if you want to see everything that's required in that, make sure you watch that video series. But if you're playing as the Dark Urge, it is a little bit more difficult to get that trophy anyway, because there's an additional one of the tieflings that we have to save that we normally don't have to save if we're doing a non-Dark Urge playthrough. So that being said, you can save the tiefling, you can kill the tiefling, it doesn't really matter. We're not trying to save her or anything like that. We're just trying to end the fight as quickly as possible. So we're going to kill that Bugbear assassin by any means necessary, using range attacks, or you can get up close if you really want to. I'm not a big fan of throwing myself into harm's way, especially on Tactician difficulty. It's better to hang back and do your fighting from a distance. Now, what I'm trying to show you is not every single fight in the game. What I want to do instead is go through the game as quickly as possible while showing off the good content that's there, especially the new Dark Urge content, and trying to get as much experience as you can for the least amount of work, because we do want to get up to level 12 as quickly as possible, but that doesn't mean doing every single side quest and every single piece of side content. We just want to have a couple good fights that allow us to get some good experience and get the largest rewards possible for the least amount of work. A lot of times that means not fighting at all, which is actually a good thing because talking your way through situations can be very beneficial. It can give you a lot of good rewards, lots of good experience without the risk of you taking any damage at all. So now what we're going to do is just to keep attacking this enemy. He is inflicted with gaping wounds, so every time we hit him, we are also doing a bit of extra damage, and now I can just follow that up with another normal attack from the Dark Urge, and that should be able to finish him off. And just like that, we got 40 experience for all of our party members just for killing that one enemy. So go ahead and grab the poison off of him and anything else that you want. Over here, Nadira the Tiefling does have a soul coin, so you can grab that one if you have plans on giving them to Karlach or anything like that. Alright, well, we are now done with the Grove section for right now. We're going to just head back toward the ladder over here, and then we're going to climb down, and then we're going to actually go back out of the Grove. And then what we want to do is to hang a right as we exit the Grove. There's going to be a little path going forward where we're going to find some people who will tell us about a Owlbear attack. And we're going to go ahead and take out that Owlbear. We've also got to get Scratch. We've got to get Karlach. It's all in the same area. So following this path around, you can head over toward the right as soon as the forest indicator pops up, and then follow this path around until you get a cutscene. Nothing really changes though for this cutscene with the Dark Urge, so I'm just going to skip it. Make sure you tell them to find the beast and avenge their brother so that they'll run off to the Owlbear cave just below. Now let's loot Edwin's body.
Strange power resonates within the corpse. It calls to you. Most corpses feel like toys before you, to be played with and discarded when you tire. This body seems different. A friend calls out from the corpse, desperate to be freed. Why let its host's memories go to waste? The tadpole has absorbed it all. Its experience could nourish you, strengthen you.
Embrace the desire to commune with the tadpole. Will it to break free. We get some extra experience as well as a Mind Flayer Parasite specimen that we can use to grow our Lithid powers a little bit later on. And we will be doing that a little bit differently than how we used them in the previous walkthrough, so you've got that to look forward to. I'm going to take a break right here though, ending the episode right outside the Owlbear cave. We'll pick up right here next time. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, and also consider subscribing if you haven't done that already. Those things really help me out. I'll see you very soon for part 2 of this Tactician Mode guide. Until then, thanks for watching and have a good day.